محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. This first verse, salawat in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. The second verse, salawat in honor of Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. The last verse, salawat in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman alayhi salam. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The most debated topic within Islamic communities today, and not just today, from after the Holy Prophet had passed away, was this topic of Khalafa, was this topic of Khalifa, and who is supposed to succeed the Holy Prophet. And one of the things, or one of the deficiencies that the Ahl Sunnah say it's on us, is that we can't prove from the Quran that Khilafat is not supposed to be chosen by people like you and I, but Khilafat is supposed to be chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when it comes to Khalifa, our view is what? That Khalifa is an uqda from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a status given to an individual from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning what? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is going to choose his representative. Whereas the majority of Muslims, they say, no, this status can be given to any individual, whoever the people decide. So if you look at the Quran, what does the Quran say about Khilafah? When you look at Karbala itself, Karbala is the best example to find out that no, the Khalifa is truly supposed to be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not man-made. Why? Because on one side you had an individual who was claiming that what he is the rightful Khalifa, he's the one who's supposed to lead, and that's the reason that he stood up. He was the rightful. Amir al-Mu'mineen said that. And we'll get to what Amir al-Mu'mineen says in the Nahj al-Balagha, in his sermon, in regards to Khilafat itself. But when it comes to Khalifa, what does Khilafat mean? What does Khalifa mean? Khilafah, it comes from the word Khalf. And this word, it means to come after, back, to come afterwards. In this way, this word came to mean succession. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse of the Quran, about Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, what? He says what? وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ Khalifa. And he says that when we said to the angels that we are going to place a Khalifa on earth. I want everyone to pay attention to the words of the Quran. Why? Because if your view is that the Quran is enough, then let's look at what the Quran says. This verse of the Quran says what? We are going to place a Khalifa on earth. So when it comes to Khilafat itself, if you look into history, right after the Holy Prophet had passed away, an incident happened regarding the first person who took Khilafat, where the Holy Prophets passed away. What's happened now is that Umar ibn Khattab, he's in front of the door of the Holy Prophet. He's not letting anyone go inside. And what is he doing? He's brandished his sword and he's yelling and he's saying that anyone that believes that the Holy Prophet has died, I'm going to sever his head. He's out of his senses. If you look at the narration, if you look at history, it says that he's become out of his senses and he's claiming what? He's saying that the Holy Prophet has left this world, but he's going to come back the same way that Nabiullah Isa alayhi salam is going to come back. And if anyone claims that he's died, I'm going to sever their head. Who's this? The Muslim's second Khalifa. He's the one who is saying this. When this is happening, Abu Bakr, he wasn't in the vicinity of where the Holy Prophet passed away. His house itself was a little bit further in Medina. When he comes, when the news reaches him that the Holy Prophet's passed away, he comes, he goes inside the house. When he goes inside the house, an individual comes and tells Umar about what's happening in Bani Sa'da. What's happening in regards to Khilafah. Umar, he sends this individual inside and he tells him to bring Abu Bakr outside. Why? Because he needs to speak to him about a certain matter. As soon as he goes in, Abu Bakr comes out. And what does he say? He recites the famous verse of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the people that if the Prophet is killed or slain, will you then turn back to your heels? Will you then turn back to what you were before? As soon as he said this, Umar, he stops yelling. He stops shouting. He stops yelling. He stops threatening altogether. What was he doing just a moment ago? He was threatening to kill anyone that said that the Holy Prophet has died. Now, when this individual has come out and said, yes, the Holy Prophet has truly died, why isn't he threatening him? What was he trying to do in these moments? Whatever he was trying to do, he actually accomplished. Why? His objective was to put doubts in the minds of the people. For this same reason, so they would not get together and decide that yes, the Holy Prophet has passed away and Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is supposed to be the next Khalifa. So what does he do? He puts doubt in the minds of the people until Abu Bakr comes. What do? They go to where Khilafat was being debated. And I'm not going to go into the details of that story itself because that's a lecture of its own. But at the end of it, what ends up happening? Abu Bakr, he becomes Khalifa. This is how Abu Bakr became Khalifa. Through what? Through what happened with in the what's it called? Saqifa. So what happened in Saqifa? Abu Bakr became Khalifa through Saqifa. After Abu Bakr went to his rightful place, what does he do? He writes before that he writes a letter to Umar ibn Khattab saying that he's supposed to be the Khalifa after him. Too. Umar ibn Khattab, what does he do? Instead of doing what the Holy Prophet did, instead of doing what Abu Bakr did, what does he do? He says that there's going to be shura. There's going to be a council. And that council is going to determine who is to be the next Khalifa. And not just that, but he puts a circus of questions. He puts a circus of conditions. By the end of it, the only person that would come out as Khalifa would be Uthman ibn Affan. If you look at the conditions that he puts, he goes, if after 3 days, for example, if after 3 days, these 6 people are not able to decide who's to be Khalifa, all of them are to be killed. All of them are to be killed. Is this a condition that you put? If you're truly looking for the well-being of the Muslims, then is this how you do it? By laying down these types of conditions? But at the end, what happens? Uthman ibn Affan, he becomes Khalifa. After he goes to his rightful place, the Muslim Ummah of Medina themselves, they come to the doorstep of Amir al-Mu'mineen and they force him to become Khalifa. At Amir al-Mu'mineen, he himself, he says in Nahj Balagha, that there was so many people that my 2 sons, Hassan and Hussein, I was worried that they were going to get run over. That's how many people were. That's how Amir al-Mu'mineen came. After Amir al-Mu'mineen, Muawiyah, he took Khilafat through power. So in Islam, you have these different ways of how individuals became the center of Islam. The center of Islam. Is this what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted? Is this what the Holy Prophet wanted? After his passing away, is it really true that the Holy Prophet never told the Muslim Ummah that yes, an individual is going to succeed me? If you look at if you look at religious history through the eyes of Islam, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never choose the person who's going to succeed the previous prophet? When it came to Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, was it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that chose who was going to succeed him? Or was it the children of Hazrat Adam? No. When you look at prophethood, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who chose who's going to succeed the previous prophet. Now that prophethood is ending, who's going to keep the Muslims, who's going to keep the people on the path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet want them to be on? Who's going to do that? If you say someone like you and I are able to do that, then the question is, are we ourselves on the right path that we can guide others to the right path? Are we ourselves on the right path? Because when you look at the first individual that became Khalifa, in his sermon, what does he say? He himself, he admits that shaitan is with me. He admits that shaitan is with me. If I make a mistake, I want you to correct me. What does this mean? You're supposed to know better than me. You're the Khalifa. You're the one who's supposed to run my life. You're the one who's supposed to tell me how to live my life as a good Muslim. How am I going to tell you that yes, you're wrong? If I know more than you, I know better than you, then why would I follow you? Why would I follow you? These ways that Khilafat was given to individuals, you see, this is the reason that Islam is where it's at today. Islam is where it's at today. The pillars of Karbala, the bricks of Karbala, they were laid back then. They weren't laid in the time of Yazid. No, they were laid in the time of the Holy Prophet himself. The bunyad of Karbala, the pillars, the bricks of Karbala, the first layer of Karbala, it was laid in the time of the Holy Prophet. So when you look at these individuals, you have to question their motive. Why did they want? Why did these individuals become Muslim in the first place? And when you look at history, some of these individuals, they didn't become Muslim because they truly believed in the message of the Holy Prophet. They became Muslim, why? Because they realized that they could gain power from it. They realized that they could gain power from it. When Amir al-Mu'mineen became Khalifa, Nahj al-Balagha, in one of the sermons, in the second sermon, there's a phrase where Amir al-Mu'mineen says, what? Now, truth has come back to its rightful owner. Now, rightfulness, right has come back to its rightful owner. So what does that mean? That means that this Khilafat was taken by someone that was not right for it. What does Amir al-Mu'mineen say in that second sermon? And people tend to forget. This Khilafat, this issue of Khilafat is not something to take lightly. This issue of Khilafat, it deals with the well-being of Islam itself. Not just the well-being of a Muslim, but the well-being of Islam, the religion of Islam. And people take this lightly. If it was a matter to be taken lightly, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not have said to the angels that I'm going to place a Khalifa on earth. And look at the Quran. They asked, where does it say, how can you prove that Khilafat is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Every single verse of the Quran where the word Khalifa is used, every single verse. For Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? We made Dawood Khalifa. We made Dawood Khalifa. After Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, we made them the Khalifa. We made them Khalifa. Wherever the single or the plural of Khalifa is used, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always says, we made them. We made them. If the Quran is truly enough, then come, let's look at what the Quran says. Look at what the Quran says, that it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who decides who's going to be the Khalifa of himself. What does Khalifa mean? A representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's illogical for someone to say that yes, the representative, I can choose the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask everyone here, let's say you have you've made a business, you have a business. Would it be logical for the people that are working for you, for them to decide who's going to represent you in business dealings, or would you yourself decide who's going to represent you? I'm going to decide. This is my business. I'm the one who started. I'm the one who created. I am the sole owner of this business. So I'm going to decide who's going to represent me in business dealings. I'm going to decide who's going to represent me in meetings. When we all agree that this world is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that means what? That means that He is going to decide who is going to represent Him on this earth. He's going to decide. You and I do not have any say. Look at the way the world is. When you and I choose leaders, what do we look at? What do we look at? We look at which of these leaders is going to benefit me. Which of these leaders is going to benefit me? We don't look at which of these leaders is going to benefit the collective us. No, we look at which of these leaders is going to benefit me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no benefit for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when He chooses a representative, the benefit is automatically for the people. Why? Because when you and I choose, We'll choose people like the first. When you and I choose, don't go that far back. Don't go that far back. You and I live in a democratic country. When people like you and I choose, look at what we end up choosing. Why? Because every single one of us is looking for our own benefit. We're not looking at the benefit of the whole community. We're not looking at the benefit of the collectiveness. We're looking at, what is he going to do for my business? This problem that I have, what is this individual going to do for that? This is the reason that when it comes to these matters, especially the matter of Khilafat, this isn't something that regarding only and only this world. Khilafat itself, it's this world and the world to come. Why? Because this is a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're going to claim to be a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're going to claim to be a representative, or you're going to claim to be the successor of the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what proof do you have that you're the successor? What proof do you have? What proof do you have that you're the leader of this religion that the Holy Prophet brought? And when you look at the first case, the first fiqhi case that came in front of the first Khalifa, do you know what kind of case it was? It was a case regarding an individual that was drinking wine. They brought it in front of Abu Bakr. The soldiers had caught an individual and they claimed that Abu Bakr, this person, he's been drinking wine. He was drinking wine in front of everyone. We saw it. Abu Bakr, he asked him, is it true? He goes, yes, it's true. He goes, why were you drinking? He goes, the man, he says that no one ever told me that drinking wine was not allowed. No one ever told me that it had become forbidden in Islam to drink wine. The first ever case that was brought in front of the first Khalifa. When this man says this, now Abu Bakr doesn't know what to do. Umar ibn Khattab is standing next to him. When he's standing next to him, Abu Bakr looks at him, what should we do? Umar ibn Khattab doesn't know either. He doesn't know either. What should we do? What did they decide? Umar ibn Khattab, he says, send him to Ali ibn Abi Talib. He'll know. He'll know. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he comes, they tell him, Ya Ali, he was caught drinking wine. And he's claiming that he didn't know that the verses in regards to the hurmat of wine had been revealed. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, so what's the issue? Because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes, how do you not know what to do? It's very simple. He's claiming that he didn't know. He's claiming that no one ever recited these verses over there where he lives. All you have to do is send 2 people with him and go ask the people over there where he lives. If those people in his area say, yes, we didn't know that these verses were revealed, then he's telling the truth. If they say, no, we knew these verses were revealed and we told him, then he's lying. If he's lying, then you punish him. If he's telling the truth, you leave him alone. That's it. This simple. Yet the individual who claims to be the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger, he can't come up with a solution like this. 1, 2. There was a group of Jews that came after the passing away of the Holy Prophet. They had actually left in the last moments of the Holy Prophet's life from Yemen. And when they got to Medina, they found out that the Holy Prophet had passed away. They went to Abu Bakr and they tell Abu Bakr that these Jews, when they said this to Abu Bakr he's like, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this. And I don't have that much to give you. So then they say, what kind of prophet is this? This is the problem. They say, what kind of prophet is this? He promised us this. He's left this world. He knows what he owes. He's left this world. They question the prophet of the Holy Prophet. Why? Because of this individual. Because I don't know anything about this. As they were going, Salman Farsi happens to catch them. And he tells them, that's the wrong person you've been to. If you want to truly come to the successor of the Holy Prophet, that's Ali ibn Abi Talib. Come to him. He takes them to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, without even asking them anything, he tells them that you're here because of what the Holy Prophet wrote, correct? The Holy Prophet told you that you are to be given this amount of camels that are supposed to be this color. Yes. He told you that you were supposed to be given this amount of cloth. Yes. He told you that you were supposed to be given this amount of gold. Isn't that right? They go, yes. This is what it means to be the representative of the Holy Prophet. You answer the questions before they're even asked of you. You fulfill their desires before it's even asked of you. He goes, okay, come with me. He takes them up. This story you can find in Sayyid Hashim Bahrani's Madinat al-Ma'ajiz. He takes them near to the hill, and all he does is raise his hand. That's it. Whatever they required, the camels, coming with the cloth, coming with the gold, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides. All Amir al-Mu'mineen does was raise his hand. That was it. The same way Nabiullah Saleh, when he raised his hand, the camel came out of that mountain. The same way the narrations say that these camels came out of that hill. These Jews, they accepted Islam, the Islam of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and him being the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what it means. If you want to know what Khilafah truly means, look at it and the way it's used in the Quran. Khilafat in the Quran is used for who? Nabiullah Adam alayhi salam. Khilafat in the Quran is used for who? Nabiullah Dawood alayhi salam. Khilafat in the Quran is used for who? Nabiullah Nuh alayhi salam and his people. It's not used for anyone and everyone. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly wanted Khilafat to be determined by the people, why didn't He let the angels determine who the Khalifa was going to be? Why didn't He let the people of Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam determine who the Khalifa was going to be? Why didn't He let the people of Nabiullah Nuh alayhi salam determine who the Khalifa was going to be? Why? Because this uqdah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This status, this station is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's Him who's going to decide. It's Him who's going to decide. If you say, and this is the problem that the Sunni brothers have, that if you say that Khilafat can be decided by the people, and you have these 5 different ways of an individual becoming Khalifa of the Rasul, which one of these is correct? Which one of these is correct? You can't say all 5 of them are correct. Why? If the Holy Prophet left this world without claiming or without determining who the next Khalifa is going to be, that means what? That means that the last sunnat of the Holy Prophet before he left this world was what? Not determining who the Khalifa is going to be. That was the last sunnat. If that was the sunnat of the Holy Prophet, then how can Abu Bakr determine who the next Khalifa is going to be? That would mean that this is a bid'ah. How can Umar decide to have 6 people decide who the Khalifa is going to be? That's not what the Holy Prophet did. That means that this itself is bid'ah. How can the people all get together and decide who the Khalifa is going to be? The Holy Prophet didn't allow that. That means that this is bid'ah. If you claim that yes, the way Abu Bakr became Khalifa, there's nothing wrong with that, then why is it that Abu Bakr didn't allow another Saqifa to happen? What was wrong with this first Saqifa that he did not allow another Saqifa to happen? Because Umar ibn Khattab, he himself, he says that the reason Abu Bakr elected him was that he didn't want another Saqifa to take place. He saw the dangers of that first Saqifa, so he didn't want the second Saqifa to take place. If you think about this, what does this tell you about the foresight of the Holy Prophet? What does this tell you about the foresight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That Abu Bakr had better foresight about Islam than the Holy Prophet himself? Did the Holy Prophet not have that foresight to know what the dangers of the first Saqifa is, that he doesn't choose a representative of his own? That Abu Bakr has that foresight? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself not know the dangers of that first Saqifa? That Abu Bakr knew the dangers? What are the Muslims saying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's foresight? What are the Muslims saying about the Holy Prophet's foresight? When they say, yes, Abu Bakr was right in the right when he made Umar ibn Khattab the Khalifa. That's an attack on the Holy Prophet. That's an attack on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they don't understand. How do you do this? How do you recite the kalima of the Holy Prophet on one hand, and then you attack him on the other? In the last 20 years, 25 years, everything that's happened against Islam, every reaction that's happened against Islam here in the West, in the last 25, 26 years, has it happened against Islam, or has it truly happened because of one interpretation of Islam? It's happened because of one interpretation of Islam. That interpretation of Banu Umayyah. If you look at Islam today, you have two Islams, that's it. In reality, there's two Islams. One is the Islam of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. One is the Islam of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. The second is the Islam of Banu Umayyah. That's what you have today. The world is now waking up to the difference between the two. Even the Muslims today are realizing, yes, the Islam that they've been following is the Islam of Banu Umayyah. Why? Because they see the Islam of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, and they see that that is the only Islam that is helping other Muslims. So now they're waking up. But this requires sacrifice. And the Shias of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam are giving that sacrifice. And they will continue to give that sacrifice. Why? Because they've taken him to be their master. They claim that they are his Shia. Do you know what Shia means? Shia, it doesn't just mean follower. Shia means to put your step where your master is putting their step. Put your step wherever your master is putting their step. I can follow someone, but if he's walking this way, I can walk behind him on the right. But a Shia means that you step wherever that individual steps. That's what it means to be a Shia. And today it's difficult for us to say that we are Shia. Some people came to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and they told him, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, we're one of your Shias. Imam Sadiq, he looks at them and he goes, I don't see, Amir al-Mu'mineen also, he looks at them and he says, I don't see any of the signs of you being my Shia. I don't see any of the signs. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells those people, there were youngsters that came to Amir al-Mu'mineen when they told him that. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, look, don't claim to be my Shia. Why? Because the Quran, when it speaks about the Shia, it says that Ibrahim was one of the Shia. Ibrahim was, inshallah, some other time we'll look at these verses about Shia Islam. Is Shia Islam the true Islam, or is it no, Sunni Islam? When did Shia Islam start? When did Sunni Islam start? But Amir al-Mu'mineen tells them, what? That Ibrahim was one of the Shia. Do not claim to be one of my Shia. If you love me, just claim to be a lover of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sadiq al-Muhammad says the same thing to his people that came. Don't claim to be a Shia. Just claim that you love us. And that will be enough for your akhirah. Why? Because to be a Shia, you have to be like Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. You have to be like Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, this time period that we're living in, first and foremost, you have to understand that the beliefs you have, are they correct or are they incorrect? Usul al-Din comes before Far' al-Din. The usul of Islam, they come before the branches. If you're weak in your usul, then the furu' is not even going to matter. If you don't understand Tawheed, you don't understand Nabuwat, you don't understand Imamat, you don't understand Qiyamat, if you don't have a good grasp on them, here living in the West, then you'll totally become lost. And you see, that's exactly what happens. A lot of the Muslims that are leaving Islam, are they Shia or are they from the other side? They're from the other side. Yes, you can make the argument, you know what, they're more. Yes, they're more. But if they're more, isn't that the argument they make? We're in the majority, we're right. If you're right, then why are there more people leaving? And the people that do become Muslim, they become Sunni, then they do more research, and then they become Shia. Why is that? When in the 60s and 70s, or right after the revolution, the CIA here, they wanted to know what was it that's allowing the Shias to keep power in, for example, Iran. And they came to two conclusions. Or they said that there's three things that is allowing them. One is this marjaiyat system that they have. The system of marjaiyat that they have, it's very strong. Two is that Karbala is always with them. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam is always with them. Two. The third that they say is what's keeping these people strong. Marjaiyat. What does Marjaiyat do? The Imam of the time is the third one, they say. They're waiting and they're willing to sacrifice their life for who they claim to be the Imam of the time. These are the three things that have given the Shias the power that they have. These three things. Right now, in the absence of the Imam of their time, who do you and I gravitate towards? Are we left to not look at someone, to emulate someone? No. This is marjaiyat. That we emulate or we try to be like them. And what's sad today is that, yes, taqleed, it means emulation. And even within the Shia, there's a problem with this. When you tell them to be like Imam Hussein, oh, he's Masoom, I can't be like him. True, you can't be like him. Then why don't you be like one of the Maraja? Oh no, this is haram. This is bid'ah. We can't do this. Meaning what? Meaning, no, leave us alone and we'll decide who we want, what we want to become. When it comes to Shia Islam, just keep in mind, brothers, this marjaiyat is something that is keeping Shia Islam alive. No matter what you think about it. No matter what you think about it. You see it. In our own lifetime, we saw the power of this marjaiyat. In our own lifetime. Back in 2013, 2014, you saw it in Iraq. Just one command and 5 million. I was there. One command, 5 million Iraqis, they signed up. That's how important this is. No matter what you think about it, you have to give it respect. Why? Because it's brought the Shias on the map, on the world stage. It's let the world know who we are. Before this, what will people think? They didn't even know. They didn't even care. But now they realize where the power of the Shias is. The power of the Shia is in their marja. It's in their marja. And their marja tries to follow the footsteps of that individual that he believes to be the Imam. And this is why I said in the beginning that if you believe Khilafat is to be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will follow Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. No, but if you believe Khilafat is people like you and I choosing, then you'll be in the camp of Yazid al-Anfali. You'll be in the camp of Yazid al-Anfali. And when you look at this, who was in that camp of Yazid? People say that there were a lot of Shias in there. No, there weren't a lot of Shias. If you look at the history and you look at what Muawiyah al-Anfali was doing to Kufa at that time, you come to the realization that he was taking out Shias from Kufa. And he was bringing in people from Sham into Kufa. He was bringing people from Sham from Kufa. So a lot of the people there were truly from Sham. Truly from Sham. But one of the people that was in the camp of Yazid was who? Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. This individual, and I spoke about this just a little bit yesterday. When Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam was coming to Karbala, he's the one who stopped him. He's the one who stopped him. He was the commander of the army. He's the one who stopped him. When he stopped him, Imam Hussein al-Islam says, "Oh Hur, let me go. Let me go." He goes, "Ya Abu Abdullah, I'm not allowed to let you go." He goes, "Why?" "I've been ordered to keep you here." Imam Hussein al-Islam, he tells him, he asks him one more time, "Look, I won't go to Kufa. I won't even go to Medina. I'll go somewhere else." Hur says no. When he says no, that's when Abu Abdullah, he gets angry and he tells Hur, "Oh Hur, may your mother weep over you." And that's when Imam Hussein al-Islam, when he says this Hur, he says, "Ya Abu Abdullah, I have so much respect for your mother that I would never dare say anything about her. I would never dare say anything. But if it was someone else who spoke about my mother, all of Kufa knows that I'm a warrior. If it was someone else that spoke about my mother, I would have surely given them an answer. I would surely given them an answer." Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Ya Hussein. Brothers and sisters, it's the night of Ashur. Hur, he's in the camp of Yazid, and he sees that on the camp of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam, he hears the cries of the children, and the children are saying, "Al-Atash, Al-Atash, we're thirsty, we're thirsty." Hur hears all these cries, and he looks at the commander of the army, and he says, "Are we truly going to fight them tomorrow?" When the commander of the army, he says, "Yes, we're going to fight them tomorrow." Hur, he looks at him, and he says, "Why? Look at what's happening over there." Hur, he asks him, "Are you truly going to kill Abu Abdullah Hussein tomorrow?" And when the army commander says, "Yes, we're truly going to fight him, we're truly going to kill him," Hur, he leaves that commander and he goes out for a walk. When he goes out for a walk, he's looking at the tent of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam. He keeps hearing the cries of the children of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam. Brothers and sisters, the narrations, they say that in the morning, what does he do? He decides to leave the camp of Yazid. He decides to leave the camp of Banu Umayyah, and he goes to the camp of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam. But when he goes back, he does not go back as someone who was repenting. What does he do? He tells his son. When he tells his son, he asks him, "Oh father," his son, he tells him, "Oh father dear, why are you looking like this? You look like you're scared." That's when he says, "Oh my son, it's not that I'm scared of those people. Oh my son, these people, they're thirsty. Oh my son, they've been hungry. Oh my son, I'm scared of who? I'm scared of Lady Zahra. Oh my son, I'm scared of what will happen to my afterlife. Oh my son, what do I see on this side? I see hell on this side, and I see heaven on the side of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam." What does Hur do? He tells his son, "Oh my son, I need to repent. Can you do me a favor?" "What is it, oh father dear?" "Can you tie my hands behind my back?" The son, he ties the hands behind the backs of Hur. They get on the horse, and both of them, they go towards the camp of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam. Mullah Hussein, he's told Abu Fazl Abbas, "Ya Abbas, we have two guests. Can you go receive them?" Mullah Abbas, he goes out and he sees that it's Hur and his son. They've come to this side. When they come to this side, Hur, he tells Mullah Abbas, "Ya Abbas, I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to repent. I'm here to ask for forgiveness from Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam." When Mullah Abbas, he takes Hur to Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam, what does Hur do? He comes off his horse. Instead of walking towards Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam, all of you that have gone first, they drag their bodies on the floor and they go to the haram of Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam. Why? Because they themselves are telling them that we ourselves are sinners.
Ya Abu Abdullah, please forgive us the same way that you forgave Hur. That's what Hur did. He went to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein al-Islam on his hands and knees. Then when he goes there, Imam Hussein, he lifts him up and he says, oh Hur, you're free in this world and you're free in the next world. What does he do? He asks, he takes an apology and he apologizes to Abu Abdullah. Then he goes to the tent of Lady Zainab, and when he hears the children cry, he tells Lady Zainab, oh Zainab, please forgive me, please do not blame me, and please do not complain to me, or please do not complain about me to your mother Zahra. Lady Zainab, she replies, oh Hur, I will not complain to my mother about you, I will tell her that you are of the people that helped me. Brothers, sisters, Hur, he goes back to Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Islam and he tells them, oh Abu Abdullah, if you've truly forgiven me, then can you please give me permission to be the first to go out in battle and sacrifice my life for you? Before he could go, what ends up happening is that Hur's son, he goes to the battlefield and he becomes martyr. When he becomes martyr, Hur sees this. By the time he gets there, Hur sees that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein al-Islam has already reached that body, and he's the one who's lifting the body of the son of Hur. When Hur sees this, he says, Ya Abu Abdullah, he's a servant of yours. Ya Abu Abdullah, this is a slave of yours. Why are you lifting his body? Mullah Hussein, he looks at Hur and he tells him, oh Hur, it's very difficult for a father to lift the dead body of the son. Ya Hussein, on the day of Ashur, there was no one to help you lift the body of Ali al-Akbar. You're the one who lifted that body. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa la'natullah ala qawm al-kafirin. Matam Hussein.